We are now in the customer acquisitions. We are looking at how much it is to acquire a customer, which is very important. So, some things to know about customer acquisitions is that you do want to include sales. Even if you're in fashion, like I'm saying, this is for a clothing line, so it's going to be a little different than a SaaS. Clothing, you can still do social selling, which basically means you go on live and you're paying someone to sell clothing. Perhaps they get a commission off of it, right? So you include your commission or anything that's direct to do with sales when it comes to getting the customer the item. So they're pulling products, showing them different things, showcasing the product, doing all these things. That is a part of the sales. And if they get a commission, I would add it in. It depends on how you have your business structured. Now, some of the things that I've been hearing, there's new things, about AI and about, just kind of doing these things yourself, which I think is important to do, especially when you're just starting your business or just simply trying to just learn how these things apply within your business, which I think is great. One way that people do this is they can go online or they can use ChatGPT. It's easy, right? You can see blended CAC and you say, hey, I know my total sales, I know my marketing spend, or I know my projected total sales, my projected marketing spend. And then I know projected how many customers I can get acquired from that, right? But let's say that you are now in business and you're getting information and you need to create a formula. And because you're doing it yourself, this is something that you would be doing. You would need to get your sales, your marketing expenses, and then you have a time element to this. So how do you make sure that this is something that you're going to use? Well, this one right here is focused mostly on SaaS companies. And SaaS companies are looking for certain metrics, and it relates to how that business model is set up. So ultimately, it depends on your industry and also what it is that you are trying to accomplish. What metrics and what goals you're wanting to accomplish, and you're looking at these different elements of your metrics in order to make a decision if you're having that growth or what you need to adjust. So it says here, this data typically is available from the income statement. So having an income statement is awesome. But of course, you're going to actually have to have, sales coming in to have that income statement. So knowing like where your timeline is, hey, is this potentials or projected? Is this actuals? They're going to be a little different, right? And that's how, that's why you get a specialist to come in and do that. Furthermore, social media is wonderful and awesome, but it blurs the line between marketing and sales sometimes. And sometimes you need to consult people in the industry to help you make a decision about what you're going to need to be measuring, because it can definitely affect if you're trying to get funding or investment or how you're actually measuring your growth. So one thing I do like to use not social media, but AI for is to play around with different metrics if you're trying to learn. So it suggested creating a simple profit calculator where it's the price, cost of goods sold, and of course your CAC. And if you're just playing around with numbers and you're just starting out and you just want to get used to using these metrics, I think that this is really great because you're not in the actuals yet, and maybe you're not super solid on how you're wanting to calculate what you're wanting, right? So it's a great way to explore. It also shows you how to do it. That way you can see the numbers as it is. Sometimes using like a Google Sheet or Excel sheet template with all the formulas in it can be quite confusing because you don't really know what formulas they're using or how they're using it. And perhaps you're not really in depth, you don't have a lot of knowledge about it. Some of the formulas that in there, and it can look really confusing. It can really showcase, how you're calculating this and what it is. And then you can look up gross margin and you can look up the other metrics to get, right? So I really like how it does this. And what you also can do is you put this in Excel or Google Sheet form. The last time I tried to get this in Excel or Google Sheet form, it didn't put the formulas in it, but it did formulate the sales with the titles in it. So it kind of depends on what you're wanting. So yeah, so you put these in and then it just sort of designs it for you. And then you can add your colors and do your dashboards and different things like that. Of course, AI can evolve from this, and then it can include ways of putting formulas in, but ultimately it's up to you to make these decisions about what you need to apply and what you need to take away when it comes to metrics. But playing around with it in the very beginning and just sort of seeing how these metrics works are very important. So that is it for this video. We will be using this metric in another video. Look out for my carousel post where I break this down. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.